Well, it's time for our always colorful CTV commentator to put his never shy opinions on the record about whatever issues we want to throw at him. Former NDP leader Tom Mulcair joins us from Montreal. Tom, yesterday your replacement, Jagmeet Singh, he vowed to reclaim the orange wave in Quebec, and he appointed Alexandre Boulris as his deputy leader. First things first, how does he win back Quebec?
It's going to be a tough row to hoe because the figures that we're seeing across the province have been single digits for some time. The silver lining is that they finished a strong second in my old riding of Outremont. They polled in the 25% range, and frankly, that was great compared to where they were at the beginning of that campaign. They had a very strong candidate. Alexandre is very respected. He's running in the next campaign. Naming him deputy leader makes a lot of sense. Where that leaves Guy Caron, I'm not too sure, but I think that they're showing that they have some bench strength in Quebec. I don't know if that's going to be able to put them over the top, but it'll help recruiting, the fact that they finished a strong second in Outremont.
All right, what policy can he put in the window so Quebecers will say, hey, that's the party I want to vote for? Is there anything unique you can think of that they could do?
I think that they've got to try to stay strong on the environment. Alexandre has been the spokesperson on matters of environment. Watch what the Green Party is up to in the province of Quebec. They pulled off an incredible 12% in Outremont riding, much more than they've ever had in the past. I think that a lot of people who are dissatisfied with the Liberals on the environment are looking for a sure shot, the same way the Greens were able, under Andrew Weaver, to pull out 3 seats in BC and hold the balance of power. I still think that Elizabeth May is going to be looking to field as many strong candidates as she can, because this is probably their biggest chance that they've ever had to break through.
Yeah, they've got some strength in Atlantic Canada, too. All right, I do want to ask, I guess it's a sensitive topic here. Jagmeet Singh ethnicity in a province where the wearing of religious attire in public service is being banned. Is the wearing of a turban a big liability for him there?
You're right. I mean, in the province of Quebec, these issues get discussed very openly and on open lines and in TV debates all the time. And you know that we paid a very heavy political price in the last campaign for defending a Muslim women's right to wear the niqab at citizenship ceremonies. So there's no question that religious symbols will be right back on the order paper when François Legault comes up with his bill this spring. But I think that most progressives move beyond that. That's why, by the way, I was able to get elected, and Alexandre and Hélène and Marjolaine, the 4 core people who got elected on the island of Montreal in the last federal general election, were in very progressive areas, Don, where it matters less. So the core vote of the NDP is less sensitive to that siren song than perhaps other parts of the province. That means it might be easier in Montreal, but it might be more difficult in the 450, which is the outer reaches of the suburbs around Montreal.
How's this SNC-Lavalin scandal playing out there, Tom? I mean, it is the headquarters for the company in Canada, in Montreal there. Is it different there than the rest of Canada?
I think Mr. Trudeau has managed the perfect storm, because everybody in the rest of Canada is looking at this askance and saying, what, you want to help this corrupt Quebec company? And everybody in Quebec is saying, well, why are we in so much trouble with the rest of Canada, and why, by the way, you made such a mess of it, and why hasn't this thing been able to move along? The Brits and the Americans have exactly this type of system to suspend prosecution. You don't eliminate it, you suspend it if you meet a whole bunch of very tough criteria. They've never been able to get a clear answer. We still don't know what the reasons were that presided over the refusal by our Director of Public Prosecutions. Now we have a new Attorney General who's from Quebec, David Lametti. Quebecers are saying, well, maybe he'll be able to move this thing forward. But honestly, Don, in the public's eye here, it's been a debacle. For the Liberals, everything about this thing has been a mess. They messed it up with regard to Jody Wilson-Raybould. Her testimony was so strong. Gerald Butts, Michael Warnock, the cast of characters that they tried to bring in to rebut her only made it worse. And when Mr. Trudeau announced that he was going to apologize, he held a press conference and he forgot one thing: he forgot to apologize. So it hasn't played out any better here in Quebec than in the rest of Canada, to be honest with you.
But Quebecers are looking at this as a government that's trying to save jobs, and I know that's a point of some contention. Is that possibility a plus for Trudeau going into October if he spins this around correctly?
If he spins it around and he actually does something. Because don't forget, everybody knew that that legislation that was brought in the last budget bill was intended to help SNC-Lavalin. Sure. So now Mr. Trudeau's losing both ways. He brought in the legislation, took a bit of a hit over that, tried to have the Attorney General in charge of changing it in the favor of SNC-Lavalin. That failed, and now he's stuck because the legislation is still on the books. He's got a new AG. Is he going to be able to pull it off and get Quebecers to say, well, good, at least we're keeping that head office here? I mean, one of the big threats, and it's quite real, would be that the company would move its head office to London, England. Well, don't forget that the Brits have given their companies exactly this type of break in the past, as have the Americans. The rules are different about how you go about prosecuting crimes in these companies. But overall, they've given themselves that sort of out, and most Canadians don't see why our company shouldn't have the same possibility if they follow the strict rules.
All right. Interesting discussion. Tom Mulcair, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
All the best, Doc.